sometimes I work better at night, or I feel more alive at night. I wish somebody had told me this before I took my first drink, that it would nearly kill me, basically. Because, like many other people, I would think most of the population over 18 in the UK will drink. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them will drink. And quite a large proportion of them drink heavily, but not all fall into the category of myself and being alcohol dependent. But I don't think, there were enough warnings about it, because it is a drug, and you classify things as, drugs and alcohol. Well, alcohol is a drug, isn't it? It's all the same qualities of other drugs, and alcohol is only one of the only drugs which can kill you on withdrawal. But I wouldn't say I was actively encouraged to drink when I was younger, but it was very socially acceptable. It's still socially acceptable now, isn't it? Why is that? Is it down to government receipts, tax receipts, or is it because we all enjoy it a little bit too much, or I don't know what it is? But every occasion, isn't it? It doesn't need to be an excuse now, really. And days gone by when I was young, a long time ago now, pubs would close in the afternoon, and then the all-day drinking came in for all the opening. Not every place did that, but inner cities mainly, the pubs were open all day. And now you've got chains of pubs that open at 8 o'clock in the morning. Does this encourage alcoholism? Who knows? But there's certainly more availability. Now, I wish somebody said to me, look, calm down a little bit, because nobody seemed to in my peer group. We all drank a little bit too much. And then when I joined the police service in the 80s, most of the guys and girls there drank a lot as well, but didn't all get in a mess like me, but some did. It was just seen as a bit of an induction in some ways. Let's go to the bar. Even the police stations had clubs, subsidised clubs where you buy alcohol. And I'm not blaming anybody for my drinking other than myself. It was my fault. I liked it too much, and that was the problem. But the road it took me down was devastating in the end, especially towards the end of my career. And when I retired, it was 1,000 times worse, because I didn't have any focus. And this happens to a lot of people who retire, maybe a bit early, or when they're quite young, or reasonably fit. Well, I'm still reasonably fit now. Now I've got over the drink. And then you've got more time, and a bit more money sometimes, to drink. You've got nothing else to do with it, unless you've got, a huge amount of hobbies. I did try and play a bit of golf and did a bit of sport and that sort of thing, but you get tired of that. Well, I did anyway. And I thought, well, what am I doing now? Let's go for a drink. Then you meet a total new group of people, new group of friends, and you become, part of a new gang. Then, especially if you move away. I moved away from London. I made a bad move, really, coming back to the northeast of England, but that's another, for another day, that. Now, as soon as I got back, I got divorced and I was on my own. But I met so many new friends. When you go to a bar, you meet people in the first few seconds. How are you doing? You only intend to have one or two, but you end up having 5 or 6 and 10. If you're a heavy drinker, you do anyway. And then from then on, I started to get a little bit more tired of it all, and just got into the habit. It became very boring, really. I'm not a boring person. I became very boring, because these people I used to know were very boring. They'd meet at the same time, and I think, might as well just go there. I'll ring you up, or text you or something. Let's meet in the Dog and Duck for a pint. And think, okay. And you'd be there all night. You get in a bit of a company with people, put a few quid in the whip, and by the time you know it's 11 o'clock again, and you felt rough the next day, and with me it was habit, pretty much a habit, which turned into an addiction. And then I tried to get off it, had a couple of spells off it, and I started relapse. Now, at the time, nobody mentioned the relapse was bad for you. It wasn't until the very end, when I was seriously ill in 2019, that one of the doctors said, relapse is really bad for you, because your body will get cleaned out, your liver's it's sort of detoxified again. I don't remember the exact words he used, but you assume that your body's going to be working again, and everything's going to be perfect, and you can drink again. Even people with liver transplants will drink again. Not everybody, but some do. They've been through all that trauma of a 12 operation, and the risks associated with that, and they're on drugs for the rest of their life because of the immune system problems, and they'll go and have a drink as well. It's just such a bad thing. because it's socially acceptable, there doesn't appear to be any stigma to it. In fact, the only stigma is when you don't drink. I mean, it's the only thing that you give up, and people say, why don't you drink? Everybody asks, why don't you drink? Don't they? You go somewhere, a party or a family gathering or somewhere, what do you have to drink? I just have a glass of water. What, do you not drink? No. Why? Why don't you drink? You know, there's something wrong with you. Have you got a problem? You know, they all assume you're not alcoholic. There are some people who just don't drink. And sometimes that's hard to get over as well, that you don't drink. But mine progressed to the point where I was off and on, and I did an 8-year spell of not having anything. And then I had one drink in 2014. It sent me down another bad road again. And within 6 months of that one drink, I was drinking full time, and by full time I mean 24 hours a day. I didn't have any pattern to my life. My whole life fell apart. I couldn't be bothered to get out of bed sometimes. It's just, you know, wallow in self-pity in some ways. Lost all my personality. I was a wreck. I lost a lot of weight, muscle wastage, because obviously alcohol is no good for your system. There's no benefits to it. My flat was just like it was living in a squalor really. In the end I had rats in there, I didn't have any heating, no hot water, and I didn't eat very much at all. I used to have a little bit of soup or something. Then to get out of the flat, I think, well, I must get out at some point in the day to get more supplies, or just to meet some people, try and be human again. Get a taxi down to the pub and see the same old people, and it just became the same every day. And you're starting to think, well, how am I going to get out of this? How will I get out of it? I went to doctors, they wouldn't give me any medication. It's called diazepam, which had helped me in the past. I thought, I'm going to make a go of this, I've got to get off. I couldn't get off. They sent me to self-help groups. That was a waste of time. I'm just a waste of time. It was a waste of time for me. Not for everybody, it won't be, but it was for me. I felt I needed something to stop me from withdrawing, because I'd stopped years prior. I just cut it out completely and gone cold turkey. But I had a seizure, and having another seizure worried me to hell. It would do anybody. But you can die from seizures. Another complication of just stopping. You've got to try and taper off, is what the doctors say. Try tapering off, that didn't work. So you become depressed by it all, and your life's finished, and all this carry on. And there's not enough support, I don't think, for alcoholics in general. There seems to be more for drug addicts. There's so many alcoholics, so many people with alcohol problems in the UK. The NHS is on its knees with it, really, to be honest. There aren't enough centres. I wasn't offered any rehab at all. The only chance of rehab was to pay for it, and I didn't have enough cash to do that. So I was sort of left to God and the neighbours in a way. And I just drank myself nearly to death. But I wasn't drinking excessively, I was just drinking to make myself feel a little bit better, as in like being able to get out of bed, get in the shower, brush my teeth. But my self-care had just gone out the window, and in the end I was barely existing, to be fair. And when eventually I did call 999, got an ambulance, it came in a blue light obviously, and I heard one of the paramedics say to the other guy, this guy's really ill, get him to hospital. I take him to hospital, acute medical ward. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I had a huge stomach, which is ascites fluid, basically when the liver fails. That's what that is. Spontaneous bacterial peritonitis, which is an infection of the peritoneum, the fluid in there. It's really bad. And it was 50-50 chance in there. And then a couple of procedures done. I didn't have a liver transplant or anything, thankfully. I wasn't strong enough to have one, I don't think. It didn't get to that stage because the damage wasn't that bad. It took me 2 years of in and out of hospital. I was in a wheelchair, I was getting this fluid drained out all the time. It took 26 litres off one time. That's 26 kilos in weight of fluid from my stomach area. Because when you get liver damage, then your liver shrinks and nothing can pass through it. If that makes sense? All the fluid and whatnot. So 3 years ago, I was getting patient transport to get this fluid drained up every 3 weeks, and I was getting in a wheelchair just to get the end of the drive. Now, I'm on holiday and I'm fine, because I did what the medics told me to do, and I've been strong enough to not relapse, and that's the big killer, to not relapse, you know. So most people find out the hard way about alcohol, unfortunately. There's not enough education on it, I don't think. Hopefully there will be in the future. If you've got problems, or see your doctor first of all. Any questions, you can contact people like myself. There's other people on YouTube as well who do similar things about alcoholism. There's a lot of people on my channel at the moment who've got a lot of experience of drinking and recovery. You know, get in touch with them, and you know, don't do it in isolation. Is what I'm trying to say. Join the conversation, subscribe to the channel, and share the content, and let's get a big community going. The more people are in it, the better. My mother always said, you know, still says actually, the safety in numbers, and I believe that. Because sometimes I felt I had nobody to talk to. The doctors didn't really have time to answer my questions. But on here, you got all the time in the world. We're here 24 hours a day, aren't we? So let's keep in touch, let's stick together, and I'll speak to you all very soon.